You show me the best memes on the planet, and I'll quit my job right now, and I work for you. Hey, Shapiro, you warmongerer. Everything's fine, but hey, listen, you can't fire me because I quit.
What's up, guys? Your boy, Benny. This has been a very exciting career. We've had a lot of remarkable opportunities. We feel blessed by God. We never want to take any of this for granted. And we, obviously, every time we get a chance, we want to say thank you for making all of this possible. We want to remain the most grateful creator in the entire space. And we've gotten an opportunity as creators to get to know some other dynamic and remarkable, smart, quick-witted, and sharp as tack creators in the space. One of them is Candace Owens. At the time of Candace's firing, I put up on X, I've known Candace for a decade. Let me tell you this, there's no one in the movement more fearless. Congressional testimonies, BLM investigations, seething campus activists. Candace has conquered them all with conviction. Our movement needs more courage, not less. Godspeed, Candace. And, well, Candace responded with a bunch of hearts and Christian cross. So, on point, right? I mean that, but I've actually literally gone to campuses with Candace. I've gone to campuses with Candace. I've seen her in action, right? Like I've been there on the tours, and I've worked with Turning Point USA on some of these tours, and so they're partners of us, and it's great, right, to be able to do that. And so I've seen Candace take the stage. Obviously, these Turning Point events have some pretty neat stages, and I saw this pop up in my feed. And I said, "What is this?" Right? Because at some of the larger events with Candace, I've seen obviously the flames and the sparklers and the smoke and the effect. What's going on here? And I checked the date, and this was actually the day that Candace was fired. It's like, Candace is firing. And here's Candace on stage. Where is she? Well, she's actually live on stage in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam. Here's like the promotion for this. So this Forum for a Democracy in Amsterdam. I don't know anything about this group, but they seem like an anti-NATO group, obviously anti-globalist group, and they brought in Candace Owens as one of the leading voices of that movement. It just so happens, I mean, you can find the actual replay of the event here, but it just so happens that Candace Owens was speaking in the Netherlands on during this moment, which has obviously broken so much news and so much breaking news. And so we sort of listened to it and zeroed in on what Candace was talking about, and we found that she was asked a question about the Daily Wire. Now, obviously, this is hours after the firing. Maybe they planned it that she would be in Europe. We're not exactly sure. But Candace Owens got an opportunity to speak out about it, and this is her first raw, emotional answer, saying effectively she's excited. She's excited to do bigger and better things and be more independent and have more freedoms to talk about topics that she believes are going to save the world. Wow. Have a listen.
Okay, one last question. Candace, you've had a lot of changes in the past 48 hours. What does the future hold for you?
You know, I love change. I really do. And I have always embraced it. And at every point in my career, I've known when it's time to go to the next level, when there's something bigger that I'm after, a bigger concept that I'm after, or something that I'm understanding. And, I very much understand right now that we are in the midst of an awakening. All around the world, people are understanding that things are backwards and things are wrong, and there's something about it. We talked about this the other day that feels very spiritual. I am a Christian, and for me, even that, Christianity being somehow treated like it's dirty. There's this rise of this term Christian nationalism in America. People that are basically trying to pervert faith, family, all of these things are attacking this crucial pillar of faith. And I plan on just making everything that I have done even bigger and giving myself more independence and more freedom to talk about the topics that I believe are crucial if we are going to save ourselves and to save this world from these evil, maniacal, psychopathic globalists that want to monitor every piece of our lives. So tons of stuff coming up. I'm excited. And I'm grateful that so many people around the world have just supported me on my journey, because at the end of the day, my loyalty will always be to truth.
Well, we'll support you very much, Candace, and thank you so much for having been here with us today. Candace Owens and, of course, Pearl Davis, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for this conversation. And, I mean, just,
all right.
Just take
Candace,
take all of it in. It's all for you.
So Candace with Pearl in the Netherlands, this is what was happening the day Candace was fired. We didn't actually know this. And it wasn't until we saw this clip resurface and the just published question and answer that we were able to get that answer from Candace saying she's moving on to bigger and better things where she can speak truth. And she said that obviously moments after this happened, right? Which was the official announcement. Daily Wire and Candace Owens have ended their relationship, sent from Jeremy Boring. Again, this is something that I think a lot of people on the internet were quite shocked about. But I wasn't one of them, to be quite honest with you. I wasn't one of them. The comment section wanted to crush Disney just to become them. I just ended my subscription. Very Hollywood move from the Daily Wire. Big con is real. W for Candace. I might actually watch Candace now that she's left. So anybody who's sort of paying attention could obviously see that the breakdown, and Candace just talked about it there in her first response. I mean, imagine how tough that is. The entire world is talking about you. Half the internet is ripping you. Half the internet is cheering for you. There's this big drama back home at your employer for, years, right? This photo is from 3 years ago. So the Daily Wire's employed Candace Owens for 3 years. Ben Shapiro grinning and posing with photos of Candace Owens doing hundreds of thousands of likes on Facebook. Uncancelable since 1989. Candace Owens at the Daily Wire. Man, life comes at you fast, right? But if you're paying attention, you could sort of see the breakdown really quite evidently and quite publicly in all this. Ben Shapiro did a sort of a miniature speech that I personally would not have advised, right? Where he called Candace Owens disreputable and said her opinions are disgusting. And whoever he was speaking to was applauding and cheering about that. So obviously an anti-Candace Owens crowd. And then it sort of descended, from there along the barrier lines of religion. Candace Owens quoted Christ, right? As far as I know, not particularly at anyone. Christ is king, right? She's not tagging anyone here. But she's saying, blessed are the peacemakers. You'll be called the children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake. No one can serve two masters. Either you'll hate one and love the other, or you'll be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. Again, like quoting the scriptures. Ben Shapiro saying, Candace, if you feel like taking money from the Daily Wire, comes between you and God, by all means quit. Well, there you go, right? There's your breaking point. And Candace Owens saying, you're reading yourself into scripture and I won't tolerate it. Like all I did was quote scripture, right? And there's effectively your break point right there. So we've said this at the time. Candace Owens then, said this on stage, obviously at this event. She talked about the power to speak truth and the desire to speak truth. And Candace Owens went on to effectively say that she's going to be more powerful, and she has bigger things planned. So Candace Owens, while in the Netherlands, did an interview with a news reporter from Amsterdam. She tweeted, "This was my first time in Amsterdam. Amsterdam is a beautiful city. Thank you for the chat." And she actually covered a number of topics in this interview on cancel culture and about what was happening to her, right? She was called an expert on cancel culture by the interviewer and went ahead and said this.
The unheard voices of many people, and like you in many ways, our network is getting cancelled too, you're somewhat of an expert in dealing with getting cancelled. Any message to our viewers and our supporters?
Yeah. I think the best way to deal with it is fearlessly. If you
fear that you're being canceled, don't worry about it, because I think, like I said, we're on the brink of a mass awakening, a global awakening. And so what you're seeing, the desperation of the attacks, I always smile and I always laugh, because that's how you know that we're inching ever closer. They are worried. They've lost control of the narrative, which is why they've become so extreme in their demands for censorship. The underground movement isn't so underground anymore, where the underground movement has become quite mainstream, and it's great. The more they cancel people, they go from, far right and they come inward and inward and inward, and suddenly they're canceling the moderates. Know that we're close. That's what I would say to people.
Right. So on Nederland should just keep going.
Just keep going, like you don't even care. Don't even pay attention to the smears, the libels. They don't work. We're winning.
All right. Well, great. Candace Owens, thank you very much.
Candace Owens saying there are smears and libels going on right now. What are those? Well, apparently, this is according to reports, there was a town hall at the Daily Wire, and a lot of stuff was said about Candace Owens. Maybe good, maybe bad. Apparently, Candace Owens said Christ is king too many times. That's according to 4 Daily Wire employees who are Christians who have approached this account. I don't know who's the owner of the account, but have said that effectively there's viewpoint discrimination at the Daily Wire, and that it was straight up propaganda because Ben Shapiro didn't like Candace Owens. This has been followed up with emails from the Daily Wire, like screenshots of emails from the Daily Wire, talking about how you're not allowed to bring your cell phone to the town hall that they organized. Candace Owens saying, it's time for me to go on Joe Rogan and talk about this, while we're pretending not to talk about it. Candace Owens obviously reacting to a sort of press junket tour that Ben Shapiro has been doing, talking about this and talking about sort of the breakdown at the Daily Wire with Candace Owens. The newest iteration of that, he's gone on Dave Rubin, Piers Morgan's show. Newest iteration of that is Megyn Kelly's show, where Ben Shapiro said this.
Say is that we have a wide variety of positions on Israel right now inside the Daily Wire. Matt Walsh obviously is another one of the hosts at the Daily Wire. He and I wildly disagree about what America's Israel policy should be. Matt is much more isolationist. He basically believes the United States has no real interests in the Middle East, and thus the United States should not be providing material support to anyone, including the state of Israel. Matt obviously is well within the sort of group of hosts that we have here at the Daily Wire. So clearly whatever is going on is not about Israel specifically. That's really all I have to say about it. As far as the free speech of it, as I've said before, the Daily Wire is a publisher, not a platform. I would never call for anyone to be ousted from an actual platform, X, YouTube. Even people who are, I think, absolutely horrific human beings, I've never called for any of them to be ousted. In fact, I've called for them to have their accounts restored if they've been banned. That's not the same thing when it comes to publishers. Publishers obviously have to decide what sort of things they wish to pay for the publication of, and when it comes to hosts and publishers parting ways, obviously there'll be a non-meeting of the minds. That's pretty much all I can say on that.
Mm-hmm. This is why I don't go into business with anybody else, Ben. This is why I like to just be on my own little island here. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you've done really well on that island, so.
Well, it's good to have partnerships. Like I love working with the Daily Wire, and I've never found you guys anything other than pro free speech and the defense of it. Doesn't mean you have to be in business, as you point out, with people, no matter what they say. And I think Candace will do fine on her own. It wasn't a good match. I for one, applaud the separation.
I, for one, applaud the separation. So Megyn Kelly coming down, obviously, on the side of the Daily Wire here. And what side do we come down on? Well, I come down on the Christ is King side. If that is, in fact, the reason that Candace Owens was fired, well, we'll let that play out. Maybe there's going to be a lawsuit. I mean, that's the rumors. There's going to be a lawsuit by Christians employees, but we'll see. If that is, in fact, the what happened, then that's obviously like the definition of evil and religious and viewpoint discrimination. And that's wrong, right? If it's just Candace Owens is wanting freedom and wanting to say what she wants to say, and it's outside of the Overton window of what the Daily Wire is, well, then maybe everyone's just better off. But I guess we'll let it play out. Apparently, Candace Owens threatening to go on Joe Rogan. Like, apparently there's a bunch of stuff here that nobody's talking about. So we'll wait and see. This is what Candace had to say right from the get. And I think that's important, right? She said, I'm free at last. That's what she tweeted. That's what she posted in her video. So, well, we're just going to believe that. And we hope that you believe in following our channel. Like, share, and subscribe. It's your boy, Benny. Stay free.